Before closing, see lease agreement. Buyer understands that if buyer doesn't close within 1 year, buyer will move out of the property by 1/14/12. So I know as the seller that I have an end date. You know, if they don't close, then they move out. And until then, they're paying $13.50.
What would happen if you didn't have anything filled in on that? You just have to.
Then I'd have to try to get
continue
it
to lease it.
And I don't have anything in writing, and so it'd take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So I don't want it to go that long. Seller agrees to purchase a 210 warranty. You know, I always purchase these 210 warranties to eliminate the liability for me as the seller. Or if I'm representing somebody, I'm trying to eliminate that liability from them, or at least lower their liability. So I always agree to purchase those 210 warranties.
So if they're leasing it from you, though, wouldn't it be if the stove breaks down?
It's still on me, but now I have a warranty.
Right.
So and it happens on this one. I have the 210 warranty in place, and of course, if anything can go wrong, it will. That's Murphy's Law. And so I got a call, and there was a leak in the shower, and it was an item that, of course, I sent over my handy guy to take a look, and he says, "Oh yeah, there's a leak." So they said I called the warranty company, I paid the deductible, and they fixed it, and you know, so all was good. The tenants, future owners of the property, were happy that we had this resource, and it was resolved in fairly quick order.
So you get deductible.
Well, it all depends on what you buy. I think either a $50, $75, or $100 deductible.
Oh, okay. So you can do this on the lease part. It won't take effect when it sells.
It's all part of it all has to do with the contract. It was the listing agreement. With the listing agreement, you can put a warranty on. So that's what I did. You don't pay for that warranty until it closes. So I haven't paid any money for this warranty. But when it closes, I will. If it doesn't close, I don't pay anything for the warranty. I do still have to pay the deductible. Okay, then we go, buyer will obtain an FHA loan, fixed rate loan with a prevailing rate. I changed that from the original offer. We can see that I have an expiration date, but you don't always have to have an expiration date. We've got me signing it and them signing it and who's representing who and all that kind of good stuff. An effective date. And then you can see I have the Weichert franchise addendum. I was a listing company. Now, if I would have sold the house directly to them, then I would be the listing and selling company. A lot of agents, they think that it's about representation. It has nothing to do with about representation. It has to do with assisting. So you could be assisting somebody and not representing them. So if you do it direct, you're usually just representing one side.
So if you have that, you could just check both boxes, or do you need to put two versions of that with one box?
You just check both boxes.
Okay.
If you did both sides of the transaction. And then here's credentials. Oh, this is the offer. And we go through this. Now originally they only checked the agency, the financing, and the selling company disclosure. So I then updated it on that counter. So the original offer was $169, the $55, all that stuff was the same. And then, I didn't check anything about the appraised value contingency. I mean, they're going to have it appraised. If it doesn't appraise, they can't buy it.
That's if you have a buyer that is paying cash. That is one way that you can protect your buyer and limit their exposure by checking that, because it does give them the option of, hey, if it doesn't appraise, I'm not buying it. Yes. Or, Mr. Seller, you come down in price. So if you have a cash buyer, paragraph 5, you do want to check.
Okay, everybody understand that? But if you're getting
if it's a loan, then that paragraph's
it's
not applicable.
Yeah, it really doesn't apply. Closing and possession, same as it was before. They didn't write in a possession date because she didn't know how to go about structuring it. So I updated that on the counter. and she checked 210 warranty, and I think I clarified it on the counter. Inspections. They actually did their inspections within the 10-day period. No, they didn't do inspections. The house was been updated. So I see C counter, and we updated all that on the counter offer.
So what happens if they didn't do their inspections in the 10-day period?
Then they waived the
Waive the
right
right
to
to it,
inspections.
right?
Yep.
That's what I thought.
So then you have the financing addendum, owner occupied. At the time we wrote this, it was unknown. I mean, the way they wrote it. Then after I talked to the lender and determined that they would have to do FHA, and that's the reason I wrote it FHA on the counter offer.
Financing addendum, who does it protect? Anybody.
All of them? All parties?
Protects that buyer.
Protects the
The
buyer.
buyer.
Because if the financing addendum is a contingency.
Yes,
It's like, it's the biggest contingency.
absolutely. Financing addendum protects the buyer, not the seller.
You'll notice here that she did not check the type of interest rate, and on that counter I cleared that up. She's got it amortized over 30 years. She says 96.5. So even though she didn't know what type of loan, that didn't need to change 96.5. So I didn't have to update that on that counter.
What do you guys think the best, like line 31 there, you've got two different options, principal amount or LTV. First of all, does everybody know what LTV stands for?
Loan to value.
Loan to value. What do you think the best route there is? It dollars or percentage?
Let's say percentage.
Percentage, absolutely.
Because then you don't have to go back and adjust it. Okay, so then we go through all that, and then she didn't have the pre-approval letter by the time that, because we don't really have a pre-approval. We have a maybe approval letter. Loan approval. Okay, this is where they wrote in the 2,700, and then same basic terms that I had.
Well, how do you figure the principal amount or loan to value? How do you get the 96.5?
Because it's an FHA contract, so
that's just what it is for FHA.
3.5% down.
3.5%. Okay.
Okay, then we go through, and this is where appraisal requirements. If you think that there could potentially be appraisal requirements of a house, maybe you want to put in a dollar value. But this house, everything was, they're writing the offer. I knew that the house, I was going to fix anything anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I always deliver the houses. When I ever do a house, I always make sure that it's right. Because I don't want people coming back and complaining and telling people Tori didn't do what he said he was going to do. So I always just make sure everything's right. Then you got the government financing. This is signed when you have government financing, FHA. It's a certification. So what does it mean when you sign paragraph 8? What does it mean? Yeah, and
A government loan?
it says the borrower, seller, and the selling real estate agents or brokers involved in the sales transaction must certify the terms and conditions of the sale contract are true to the best of their knowledge and belief, and that any other agreement entered into by any of the parties in connection with the real estate transaction is part of or attached to the sales agreement. So what they're saying is that the deal that is on the paper is the deal. There's no side deals. So that's what the FHA certification does. And then you'll also many times get the FHA amendatory language, separate. The lenders will require that. And all it is the same thing. There is no side agreements. And what is a side agreement? Something that's not in the contract, but an agreement between the parties on the side. And where you have side